Hey everybody, welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Steve Hall. I was joined earlier by Paul Gorst from the Liverpool Echo for this week's Journo Insight over on Redmen Plus. As part of the show, we spoke about Jarrad Branthwaite and the report linking him with a move across Stanley Park from Everton to Liverpool. So you're going to check that out now. If you want to watch the show in its entirety, a little bit of a review of the season so far, a couple of injury updates and a few other bits and pieces as well. The full show is available over on redmenplus.com, and if you sign up there today as a monthly captain subscriber, if you use the promo code Journo, Journo, you'll get 50% off your first month. So you can check out the show in its entirety over there. But for now, let's get to me and Paul talking about Jarrad Branthwaite. Let's talk probably the main news story around Liverpool. There hasn't actually been too much. We were saying this off air before to Paul. With so many games thick and fast, sometimes everything is just match related. But there was a report earlier this week from Chris Wheeler in the Daily Mail reporting that Liverpool have an, in quotes, concrete interest in Jarrad Branthwaite of Everton and could feasibly move for him in January, as well as offering Everton closer to what they want than what Manchester United did in the summer. It's worth mentioning, in response, your colleague Chris Beasley, obviously the Everton reporter at the Echo, says Everton are not fearing a January transfer window raid from Liverpool for Jarrad Branthwaite, having not turned off the Blues since at the weekend, except he's been injured. Everton are quite comfortable with the situation as it stands now. So let's dive into this one, because I remember in the summer, Paul, I think we might have spoken about it on the show, the odds for Jarrad Branthwaite to join Liverpool were slashed like
out the blue,
literally, pardon the pun, and it was based upon, like, and this is Liverpool, for those who don't live here, taxi drivers and your mates and you probably get this all the time. I've heard this, I've heard that, such and such is saying this. It happened actually with Anthony Gordon. It turned out there might have been some truth in that one, so maybe people start to believe in it. But I mean, first of all, do you think Liverpool have got any interest whatsoever in signing Jarrad Branthwaite from Everton? This would be question number one. And if so, what are the chances of this? Because this would be, you know, when Nick Barmby did it would be tenfold on that, because this is a different kettle of fish.
This would be absolutely sensational, wouldn't it? Blockbuster and be a real talking point for months and years. Yeah, I mean, where do we start with it? First of all, what I would say is, if he wasn't wearing the St Rupert's Tower, is it, on his chest, I think this would be one that Liverpool would be absolutely honing in on, and it would be screaming out to them. You know, a 22-year-old England international in the waiting, centre-back, left-footed. So many boxes ticked. You know, Liverpool typically tend to target players between 22, 24, maybe a little bit close towards 26 in certain circumstances, but they look for, between maybe 140, 170 senior appearances. I think Branthwaite is around about 100, something like that, at the age of 22. Just sort of on the fringes of an England squad now, isn't he? You know, we might see a few more opportunities with Lee Carsley going forward. And, you know, Premier League proven at a club who are further down the Premier League than Liverpool. So much about it, like I say, ticks so many boxes. But the big but is the fact that it is Everton, and for a Manchester United or a Chelsea, or even, you know, say a Tottenham, it'd be theoretically easier for them to get Jarrad Branthwaite out of Goodison Park than it would be for Liverpool, because they're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that doesn't happen. The fans would, I'm sure, go into meltdown if it happened, or even come close to happening. So there are loads of boxes ticked from the player himself. It's just the fact that his employers would be absolutely loath to allow Liverpool to do the deal. What I would say is that there are people at Liverpool who think he's a great player, think he's a England star to come for many years. I think they feel Kwanzaa is in there as well, and that could be a potential partnership for England and for Liverpool for the coming years, or potentially Liverpool at least. So I would say that Liverpool admire the player, but it's just that caveat of who he plays for. Like you say, Nick Barmby, tenfold. Doesn't happen very often, does it? You know, trading directly from Everton to Liverpool or the other way. I think it was Abel Xavier, the last one to do that in 2002. Probably counts on one hand the amount of times it's happened in the Premier League era. So what I would say is I think Liverpool do like him, but I think they do accept that it would be particularly difficult to get him. Now, how much of that stands in their way, if they do feel that they want him further down the line, that will be up to Richie Hughes, I guess, and Arne Slot and whoever else. But really interesting one. This, I think at the moment, I think Liverpool look like they're okay defensively, but certainly next summer they will be assessing that centre-back area once again. And I'd imagine Branthwaite features highly on the data analysis, shall we say?
I was going to say, the interesting one for me is that I think the player makes sense, the age, the position, because you're right. Another year of Virgil van Dijk, I mean, who knows, Joe Gomez stayed, but how sustainable is that for him? He's played a couple of games here and there. He's very much a fringe player. My only concern, because I think he's a good player, it would be nice if Liverpool signed him, is if there was a number that I'm trying to word this rightly. Do you know where Liverpool could get him is if Everton said it's 80 million quid, for example, and Liverpool were the only team who would give the 80 million quid, because you'd think they'd rather sell him to Tottenham for 75 or Manchester United for 75 or Chelsea, take a little bit of a discount just not to give him to Liverpool. And that might sound mad, but it's completely understandable from Redmen. The PR is probably worth that to them in terms of, because the fan base will go absolutely off their heads. That's the difficulty. Man United were desperate for him. Now they might move on because they went and signed Lenny Yoro and they've got themselves a young centre back and De Ligt as well. Obviously they were big in for Branthwaite after summer, wouldn't stump up the cash that they needed to get him. That's the question, isn't it? It's like, is there any way Everton would sell him? Maybe PSR related, but they're getting a new owner, so that's all in the mix as well. Like, it feels less likely now than maybe it did in the summer when we were all thinking they're skint, they need the money, they're going to fail this PSR deadline, they might have to do it. There are less reasons for that to happen now. Yeah,
the PSR issue is one, isn't it? I don't know too much about Everton's finances. That would be Joe Thomas's remit, my sort of Everton counterpart. That's the word I'm looking for. He'd know more about that than I would, but it's been an issue for Everton for a number of years, hasn't it? Meeting that PSR deadline at the end of June. I think Everton were pretty sort of privately bombastic about the fact that they shooed United away for Branthwaite and basically forced them to move on and get Yoro and then Matthijs de Ligt, and Branthwaite stayed with Everton. But how much of that PSR is still an issue next summer? Will they be in the same boat where they have to sell a star? Dominic Calvert-Lewin's contract is coming towards an end, so I don't think they're going to be getting big money for him. That could sort of ease those concerns. Jordan Pickford is a sellable asset, but he's a bit of a club legend there these days, isn't he? So Branthwaite is the one that sort of stands out if Everton do have to sell a big player next summer. United, like you say, have sort of covered their bases now, centre-backs wise. So, that theoretically moves roadblocks out the way for Liverpool to get something of a free run at him if they do feel that he is the player for them. The only issue is getting him out of Goodison Park. How much is the player prepared to do that? These are all questions that will have to be asked at some point if it does emerge that Liverpool are serious about firming up their admiration, shall we say, because of they definitely do think that he is a top player in the making.
Yeah, I was reading the piece by Chris in the Echo, and he's saying, obviously, is it the Friedkin Group who are about to buy Everton? They think that the PSR shouldn't be an issue now. And also, if you're an owner of a football club and the first thing you do is sell the team's best asset to Liverpool, talk about getting yourself off on the wrong foot. As new owners go, it wouldn't get worse than that, really. I just don't. This is what I'm saying. I wouldn't be shocked if Liverpool like him, and I wouldn't be shocked if there was interest. I wouldn't be shocked if Jarrad Branthwaite half had design going to Liverpool, because why wouldn't he? I just PR wise for Everton, that just feels it couldn't happen. I can't imagine, for example, if when FSG came over, the first thing they did would have been, right, you're going to Man United. It can't happen. It's such a bad way to get yourself.
Yeah, Torres went to Chelsea, didn't he, in FSG's first window in January 2011.
That's different, I think, than Man United. That's different, Liverpool Everton, isn't it?
Yeah. No, you're right. It's just difficult to envision that move, isn't it, direct for that kind of money, major star. Everton fans absolutely love him. Few mates who are Everton fans and they rave about how good he is.
But they haven't won a game, had he? And then he plays and they win.
Yeah, well that's it, isn't he? He's just got to come back in, hasn't he? And they won. And yeah, he's going to be huge for them this season. Liverpool will, no question, be keeping an eye on his development. Why wouldn't you? And like I say, they do think he's a good player and will be a top player. He's only 22, so in an ideal world, for looking at Liverpool's squad, a lot happens with Van Dijk at the age 33. Does he sign a new contract? We'll find out. Joe Gomez is probably the one who you think might look at his own situation if this sort of lack of playing time carries on. So Liverpool will need to bring in a centre-back at some stage. Like I say, Branthwaite ticks so many of those boxes of a player they might like. Someone who's comfortable in possession. The big question mark is how good is he playing a bit further forward rather than sort of on his own penalty area. But if he's a top player, he will be able to adapt to that. It all just comes back to that huge, humongous butt of who he plays for and how difficult it is sort of doing that deal.
Yeah, absolutely. If he was playing right now for Crystal Palace or insert most of the Premier League with like bottom half teams here, he'd be one that you'd be calling a no-brainer. It's moving on slightly a bit though, Paul. You are right. It's again, we are 9 games into this season. Looking ahead, sometimes we can get caught up in the weeds and stuff. But obviously, we know Liverpool were interested in Lenny Yoro in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more young defenders being linked with Liverpool between now and the summer, maybe even January, if they decide that might be the time to do as well. It feels like that is one of the positions that is, there's a bit of a warning sign going, just like, not just yet, but by the way, keep an eye on this one, because there are roadblocks coming in that area of the pitch.
Yeah, and Kwanzaa was a bit of a surprise for them, if we're not sort of doing him a bit of a disservice. I don't think too many at the club sort of saw him coming in and performing in the way he did. So that was a welcome bonus. That sort of eased the concern over Joel Matip's contract situation. Then obviously he gets the injury. So people at Liverpool would suggest that Kwanzaa's replaced Joel Matip, and then it is as you were. Kanate's been excellent this season, hasn't he? Van Dijk is Van Dijk. Absolutely brilliant again last night, I thought.
Yeah.
So Liverpool generally are okay at centre back for now, but like you say, they're always looking ahead, aren't they? And Branthwaite is definitely someone who they feel has the potential to be a top player. So one to watch, but like I say, just that Everton situation, and they would be absolutely desperate not to sell him to Liverpool, particularly a new regime. It's not the best way to get off on the wrong foot with the fans, is it? Selling a prized asset to hated rival. Yeah,
I was going to say, I'd love it personally. And I think I'd just sign him, even if he didn't play.
Yeah, I think loads of Liverpool fans would like to see it just for the sort of schadenfreude that he could rub it in Everton's noses. But on the flip side, they would be getting an excellent defender as well.
Absolutely, definitely want to keep an eye on them. We'll see how that one pans out further down the line if anything happens there.